spoil sport, Pakistan's boycott theatrics. Pakistan government asks PCB to not play India match. Staged cowardly World Cup walkover. Crippling ICC sanctions loom for Pakistan. ICC selective participation to not sit well. Pakistan's India boycott in T20 World Cup. That is our top focus on 5 Live.
That walkover, first it was Bangladesh, then it is Pakistan. What exactly is going on? Why has the yards of cricket turned into an absolute battlefield between countries and neighbours? That will be a top focus here on 5 Live. I'm Sonal Mehrotra Kapoor. The T20 World Cup 2026 has turned from a cricket tournament to a battleground. It started with Bangladesh, now it is Pakistan. What was meant to be the T20 World Cup 2026 is fast turning into a test of who really controls world cricket. After objections raised by the Bangladesh Cricket Board earlier, the spotlight is now firmly on the Pakistan Cricket Board. Islamabad has directed the Pakistani team to boycott the high-voltage World Cup clash against India scheduled for the 15th of Feb. A move that has pushed cricket's global governing body into a bit of a corner. The clock is now ticking for the PCB, that's the Pakistani Cricket Board, to formally communicate its position to the ICC. A decision that could trigger consequences far beyond this particular match. The ICC has made it stand pretty clear that selective participation strikes at the very foundation of a global tournament. You play the World Cup as a whole or you don't play it at all. Now, sources indicate that Pakistan could face serious sanctions, from isolation in future tournaments to loss of hosting rights, even the threat of losing its annual ICC revenue share, which is $34 million. So what happens when governments step into the pitch and redraw cricket's rules? Is this about political power or the future of international sports itself? What lies ahead for Pakistani cricket and for the World Cup as well as an institution? We'll break it down for you on the program, but first up, take a look at this report.
India versus Pakistan, cricket's biggest rivalry. But now the fate of the match, scheduled for February 15 in Sri Lanka, hangs in the balance. Pakistan has refused to play against India in the T20 World Cup. In an unprecedented move, the Pakistani government confirmed its participation in the T20 World Cup 2026, but announced that it will boycott its group stage match against arch rivals India. On the other hand, Team India is all set for the match. India Today Inside Scoop reveals that Team India will go ahead with the pre-match press conference and continue practice exactly as scheduled. The squad will travel to Sri Lanka on time and follow every step laid down by the tournament guidelines. However, the BCCI is awaiting the final decision of the ICC.
ये बड़ा ICC का स्टेटमेंट आया है जिसमें उन्होंने खेल भावना को लेके कहा है, तो हम पूरी तरह ICC से सहमत हैं, और लेकिन हम BCCI इस पर भी कोई टिप्पणी नहीं करेगी जब तक ICC से हमारी बातचीत ना हो जाए.
The ball is now in International Cricket Council's court. The ICC is expected to call a board meeting to discuss Pakistan's threat. Meanwhile, ICC is also considering action against Pakistan. If the boycott row escalates, ICC can tighten Pakistan's bilateral calendars, limiting future cricketing engagements. ICC can also make it harder for foreign players to receive clearances to participate in the Pakistan Super League. Pakistan may even lose hosting rights for future ICC tournaments. Once again, this controversy has given opposition fresh ammunition to corner the government over sporting ties with Pakistan.
पीसीबी ने जो किया है वो बीसीसीआई के मुंह पे तमाचा है और वो देशवासी जो उम्मीद कर रहे थे कि बीसीसीआई कोई स्टांस लेगी, बीसीसीआई को दिखाया है कि पेनल्टी स्पोर्टिंग कमिटमेंट सब एक तरफ और देश की इज्जत एक तरफ।
अब बताइए पाकिस्तान को ठोक कर जवाब क्यों नहीं दे रहे आप? मतलब पाकिस्तान आपको मुंह चिढ़ा रहा है और आप में जवाब देने की हिम्मत नहीं है। इससे ज्यादा कोई दुर्भाग्य हो सकता है? आप क्यों नहीं जवाब दे रहे? पाकिस्तान की बांग्लादेश से शाहरुख खान ने एक वो ले लिया तो एक हंगामा बरपा था। अरे अब हंगामा करो ना।
An India-Pak match is the biggest money spinner in cricket with TV advertisement revenue of rupees 150 to 180 crores, digital advertisement revenue of rupees 100 to 150 crores and up to 50 crore TV and digital viewership. Bureau Report, India Today.
All right, Nikhil Naaz joins us for more on this. Nikhil, this was the fear, right? This is exactly what we discussed when the first time we discussed, the boycott by Bangladesh. He said that this could snowball. How about others reacting in the same way? And here we are. Before we go ahead into discussing what players want, what's good for the sport, politics, all of it, just tell me, what exactly do ICC guidelines say on something like this? Or is there no guideline existing on a situation?
No, there's no guideline as such, Sonal, on what happens if a country has to decide not to play one particular encounter. It's happened in the past, but those were different circumstances. And for that, there was prior permission that was taken by the ICC. People refer to the 1996 World Cup, 2003 World Cup, even the 2009 T20 World Cup that happened in England. But on all those occasions, the difference was that either there were security concerns or there were diplomatic issues between the two teams. Here, that is not the case because, for one, you're playing in Sri Lanka and there is no security concern when it comes to Pakistan playing in Sri Lanka because they'll be playing the rest of the matches there. So that is out. Then the diplomatic issues that arise between two countries, that is not the case because Pakistan is not saying that they're playing India because they have an issue with India or their relations with India aren't great at the moment. That's why. They are actually saying we will not play versus India because of what has been done to Bangladesh by the ICC. So in both these scenarios, I think this is going to be very tough to cut any sort of mustard with the ICC. And that's why I think the ICC will have to take a call. What typically happens here, the ICC board will have to meet, and that I reckon will happen probably post the T20 World Cup. For now, you might see a scenario where Pakistan doesn't play the India game, which means they give those 2 points away to India. Also, their net run rate takes a massive hit, and which will make it very difficult for them to progress through into the tournament. They might just be eliminated in round one, as it happened in the last World Cup. But be rest assured, the kind of step that they are taking, I think I can call it a misadventure at the moment because they are definitely going to be sanctioned monetarily as well as in terms of cricketing, logistics as well going forward because bilateral series will be hampered. Their own league in PSL will be hampered. And of course, as I said, monetary sanctions also coming their way.
You're pretty confident that sanctions are going to come their way. But help me understand this. How exactly are Pakistan players seeing this?
Well, we've only heard from the Pakistan captain and he said, listen, we abide by what the government says and what the board is doing. But let me just put it into perspective what happens to Pakistan cricket. And two very important bits. See, Pakistan cricket at the moment is no match to India. Anyone who follows cricket knows that. Why is it that India has gone so far ahead and Pakistan is lagged behind? Though at one time there used to be very close encounters between the two countries. That's because of the terror attack that happened in Pakistan in 2009. After which international teams stopped going to Pakistan. So for a decade and a half, they didn't have any international cricket being played in Pakistan. Now, slowly and gradually, they've come across that. They've started having international cricket return. The PSL has started. Now what you're risking is, you are actually, it's not, and you need to understand the context, it's not a fight between Pakistan and India. What Pakistan has done is actually fighting the rest of the cricketing world. Because what is the issue that they're not playing the India game? They're saying that you've done injustice to Bangladesh. Who did injustice to Bangladesh? Not India. 14 boards voted in favor of Bangladesh not playing. So what Pakistan is effectively saying, the rest of the cricketing world is wrong. So what happens in the future? India, Pakistan don't have bilateral series. Do you think from here on you are going against the decision taken by the Australian board, the English board, the New Zealand board, the West Indian board? They all were in favor of Bangladesh not playing. You have an issue with that. Will bilateral cricket once again stop happening in Pakistan? Something that took their cricket back to the ice age. Will that happen once again? Yeah, that is a probability. PSL works because of players that play from the rest of the world, not just Indian players. Will those boards now give NOC to their players to go play the Pakistan Super League? I don't think so. They're risking all of that simply because they have said that it's not been done right for Bangladesh. But truth be told, Sonal, it cannot be. You cannot be standing up for Bangladesh. That can't be the reason. I mean, we all know this actually boils down to what happened between India and Pakistan. All things that went down in the Asia Cup, whether you didn't take the trophy, didn't shake hands. I think that is the crux here. Now they're actually firing the gun on Bangladesh's shoulders, saying we'll not play versus India.
Yeah, but what exactly is Pakistan cricket board really thinking, and what are the politicians thinking? What exactly do they stand to gain by all of this? They are in minority very clearly. Their cricketers lose, their country loses ranking, revenue, all of that. What exactly are they thinking?
As I said, I think this is two things that you can look at here. One is, of course, the personal ego of the man who's heading the Pakistan Cricket Board. He also happens to be the Interior Minister of Pakistan, which is like, you know, the equivalent of our Home Minister. Now, he, remember, was the person who was standing on the podium and India refused to take the trophy from him. So he still kept the trophy in the office of the UAE cricket in Dubai. So that one incident. Of course, we know that they weren't very happy with Indian team refusing to shake hands. So either it could be an ego of one individual. The other thing that you can look at it, because it's the government that's taken a call, it could be a geopolitical sort of a, you know, extending of a hand of friendship towards Bangladesh. Maybe Pakistan perceives, we've heard it from the Indian government, that Operation Sindoor is ongoing. Maybe they foresee some sort of skirmish at the border. So, you know, to have another ally in Bangladesh to open two fronts versus India. So it could be a very political decision that they are taking at the moment. But they are sacrificing cricket because, as I said, apart from the sanctions, let me tell you what is going to be the immediate impact. I'm going to sum it up in a couple of sentences. See, total revenue that comes from the ICC is $600 million. India get 228, the lion's share of that revenue, $228 million. About $55 million is what Pakistan gets. Now, everyone will see this figure and say, listen, Pakistan has done it. India stand to lose far more than Pakistan, 200 plus million dollars. We just have 50. But what you forget is the minute details. That $55 million that Pakistan gets is about 70% of their total cricketing revenue. The $250 plus million that India gets from ICC is less than 10% of India's total revenue. So what happens? India stand to lose about 5% of their total revenue. Pakistan is closing in on 70%. Who is it going to hurt? It's going to hurt Pakistan. And just one final question that I have, and I've been to Pakistan. I know the people in Pakistan love their cricket. Some may be high on ultra-nationalism. But there's one question I think they should ask Mr. Naqvi, and that is that when all things were being done to Pakistan, not shaking of hands, not taking the trophy, even then Pakistan said, no, we will play India. So they were okay playing India even when they felt hurt. Now it's happened to Bangladesh, and Pakistan is saying we will not play India, risking their chances of not just sanctions, of going through in the tournament. How must a Pakistan cricket fan feel at the moment that you are sacrificing their cricket for your personal ego, or maybe it's geopolitics?
Yeah, but Nikhil, this is then clearly a case when the government is overruling a cricket board, overruling a cricket sentiment in the country of the players. What ICC can barely do anything. ICC can just confront the state, or it can't even do that, right? It can just punish, and in some form or the other, you're punishing the sport, aren't you?
Well, unfortunately, that's how the cookie crumbles, Sonal. It is incumbent on the board of that cricketing nation to convince their government, help them see what is it that it's going to do to cricket. But, it is unfortunate, but we've seen the sport of cricket being sacrificed at the altar of geopolitics. Not now, it's happened for a very long time. I mean, as we speak, Pakistan took that decision of not playing India. On that day, that is yesterday, Pakistan were playing an under-19 Cricket World Cup match versus India. You'll have a scenario where Bangladesh is not coming to India for the World Cup, but their shooters are going to be traveling to India in a short while from now to participate. I must also tell you India's stance as well. India refused to go to Pakistan to play cricket, but India sent its bridge team, its squash team, in fact the Davis Cup team as well, traveled to Pakistan about a year and a half ago to play a tournament there. So I think it's only cricket because that grabs all the eyeballs, and politicians, like to make a statement, and that statement is only made when you get cricket involved. And so a lot of times you've seen cricket being used as an instrument of politics, and that's exactly what's happening in this case as well.
Nikhil, every time you say this could happen, it actually happens. So requesting you to not. Just hoping perhaps that it does not manifest itself in other ways as well. But last question I have, in a crisis like this, does it really expose the role ICC plays? Can it at this point, like if say example of somebody who's an ardent cricketing fan, what do they expect ICC to do at the moment? To sort of drive some sense into Pakistan, build consensus, or say, no, rules are rules? What exactly should ICC be doing in the interest of the game?
Well, that's very interesting, Sonal. I must say, and I'm going to compliment ICC on that, they have exercised a lot of caution. If you look at that press release, they've exercised a lot of caution. They've been very patient. They were patient with Bangladesh as well. When Bangladesh said they don't want to play in India, they didn't, just took a high-handed decision immediately. They, in fact, had a couple of meetings with them over video conferencing, traveled to Bangladesh, tried to see them the bigger picture, but it didn't happen on that occasion. And similarly with Pakistan, if you look at the latest release, they say that this selective participation is against the spirit of the sport, it's against the sanctity of the sport. Towards the end, they say that we would like Pakistan to reconsider, see that it's going to be, affecting the sport that they themselves are part of. So still they would want some sort of U-turn from Pakistan, because that is to the benefit of the international cricketing community. And I think that's what they're trying to say. So maybe negotiations will be on, but in that circumstances, they don't have any sort of jurisdiction over a cricket board or a government of a country. So they can't take that call. And eventually, if Pakistan don't play India, then they'll have to take a hard call. And remember, ICC is not one individual. ICC is a collection of a lot of other cricketing boards. So I'm sure they're going to have a meeting just as they had in the case of Bangladesh, and everyone sits on the table and then votes what must be done to Pakistan for defying a board like that. Because what ICC wouldn't want is a bad precedent to be set, because from here on, cricket could just go south and every team deciding who they want to play and who they don't.
Yeah, true that. Nikhil Naaz, thank you so much for joining us at the very latest on that. Here's hoping more power and perhaps better sense to our politicians, and also, to get and build some consensus. Remember, it was not very long ago when we were discussing the exact same situation with Bangladesh, and we said, what if tomorrow Pakistan behaves like this? And they have. Now we've spoken about what about cricket. It's not just limited to that. There is a lot of cross-country games happening on other sports. What will happen to them? All of those things are to be looked at. But let's try and get a perspective from those who actually have the maximum love for the sport, not just the fan, but also those legends. Here's Nikhil Naaz in a conversation with Sunil Gavaskar.
Right, big news coming in from the world of cricket. Pakistan, in fact, the Pakistan government has issued a statement where they've made it clear that they will be participating in the T20 World Cup, but will not play the game versus India that was due to take place on the 15th of February in Colombo, Sri Lanka. Joining us, former India captain, our cricket analyst, Mr. Sunil Gavaskar. Saibhai, firstly, it's come so close to the competition. You're not just a former player, you're a broadcaster as well, someone who keeps a close eye on cricket for many decades. Does this surprise you, this close to the competition, a team decides not to play one particular match?
Not a surprise, because last week itself, or maybe about 8-10 days ago, after the ICC board decided not to accept the Bangladesh request for a change of venue, by only two boards, the Bangladesh board and the Pakistan board, voted against. And at that point, I think the Pakistan board had said that they might not play the tournament. So it was obviously clear that not playing the tournament would cost them very heavily. But opting not to play against India is something that hasn't come as a surprise, because there were hints that they were looking at doing something.